seating blocks in your favorite location at American Family Field, and much more. Start planning your group outing now at brewers.com/groups.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 5-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
The crew are out in Colorado to hit that Rocky Mountain high.
Fly ball to left is deep. Moniak is back onto the track. Moniak watches it sail. That's gone. Contreras is first of the season.
Our Brewers Rockies coverage starts today at 1:35 on your home for the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 11 o'clock. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Thursday, April 10th. Your top story, a deadly early morning crash closes the freeway.
I'm Jessica Tighe, narrowly passing a budget plan.
Mostly cloudy today. A chance for an isolated shower, mainly to the western portion of our listening area, high of 41. Clearing skies tonight and a low of 33. 41 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee, approaching 11:01 from the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom. New details about what led to the closure of I-43 southbound in Milwaukee earlier this morning.
After a car and a pickup truck that was towing a travel trailer crashed near North Avenue, an unrelated vehicle stopped at the crash scene. The sheriff's office says a 76-year-old woman from Milwaukee, believed to be a relative of one of the people involved in the first crash, exited her vehicle and was walking around the site when she was struck and killed by a 25-year-old man from Milwaukee. That man taken into custody under suspicion of OWI. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A Wisconsin assistant district attorney now finds himself a defendant. The accusations include making threats against judges. CBS's Adam Duxter.
According to court documents, the investigation started last week and focused on a phone call between Ballo and a coworker. In the call, that coworker says Ballo got angry, specifically towards 3 county judges, saying they made life difficult for him. Then he said multiple times, quote, "They need to bleed." Investigators say they then talked to Ballo's wife, who said their relationship had been tense, including a moment where Ballo drove over 90 miles an hour with her and their 2 young kids in the car. Ballo faces 3 counts of threats to a judge, 2 drug charges, and a charge for domestic abuse.
Ballo's attorney says his client vigorously denies the allegations against him.
Well, the House narrowly approves the budget plan needed to advance President Trump's tax agenda. The vote comes one day after Speaker Johnson pulled the resolution from vote due to wavering support. Well, here's the final vote tally.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Both the House and Senate need to pass identical versions of the budget blueprint before lawmakers can begin working on a bill to extend Trump's 2017 tax cuts.
The markets are back down today after rallying yesterday. People got excited on Wednesday when President Trump announced a 90-day pause on some of the tariffs. But I'm looking right now, and the markets, yep, each of them have that red down arrow. The Dow, the S&P 500, and NASDAQ all down. So what exactly goes into getting a deal done? ABC's Karen Travers is at the White House with the details.
This is complex work. This is a lot of work for the administration now to do. Trade deals tend to take years when you're doing it one-on-one with the country. Now the administration says that they're juggling this with about 75 different countries. The White House this morning says, though, that they have about 15 explicit offers on the table that they're studying right now, and that 2 of them could have been closed very recently, but they're still looking over the details right now.
Tariffs on China went up. Tariffs on steel and aluminum imports are still in place, and some goods from Mexico and Canada have a 25% tariff.
Well, no need to panic if you hear tornado sirens today.
The National Weather Service is partnering with Wisconsin Emergency Management to conduct statewide tornado drills. So you may hear the tornado sirens go off at 1:45 p.m. and 6:45 p.m. Thursday. You can also hear the regular weekly test if you have a weather radio. The drills are part of Severe Weather Awareness Week. Sean Brenda, WTMJ News.
Time for a WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Jessica alluded to it. Here are the numbers right now. The Dow is down about 1,700 points, wiping away a good portion of the gains from yesterday, currently sitting at about 38,900. NASDAQ down about 1,000 today at 16,140. S&P 500 off about 265 points at 5190. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. It's financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com.
Sports, traffic, and weather next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:04.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food Store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 7 to 15-ounce selected varieties Rana pasta or sauce, 2 for $8. 6-count selected varieties Bay's English muffins, 2 for $6. 10 to 13-ounce selected varieties Marie Calendar bowls or small pot pies, 2 for $5. 12-ounce selected varieties Cremette egg noodles, 2 for $4.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers.
Safe. Okay. Ooh. Pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a goner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
I've got a fantastic trip that I'm planning right now. I'd love for you to be with us. It's America's Music Cities for the holidays. It's early December. It's an 8-day tour of some great spots. New Orleans, Memphis, and Nashville. Check out New Orleans, the vibrant French Quarter, all decked out for the holidays. Then we're on to the amazing city of Memphis, Elvis Presley's Graceland. It is going to look absolutely fantastic. On to Nashville, we make chocolate, take a horse-drawn carriage ride, and we stay at the magical Opryland Resort. It's with Colette, the travel company I trust. We'll handle all the details for you, flights, meals, hotels, local experiences. I'm going to be there. I want you to be with us. Send me an email. I send you the information. John@WTMJ.com. John@WTMJ.com. Space is limited. We'll discover America's musical legacy wrapped in dazzling lights and seasonal decor. Let me get you the info. I'd love for you to be with us. John, John, @WTMJ.com. Show you the world. Come away with me. It's America's Music Cities with Colette, the travel company I trust.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers go for a series sweep of the Rockies this afternoon in Denver after scoring 17 runs in a Wednesday night win. Jackson Chourio, the youngest player in league history to post 12 RBIs in a 3-game span.
Chourio, what can you say, man? The kid doesn't realize, I don't think, how great he will be. It's coming together for sure.
Brewers manager Pat Murphy. Coverage of today's game gets underway at 1:35. Bucks take on the Pelicans tonight at Fiserv Forum. Milwaukee begins the day in the 5th position in the Eastern Conference playoff race. Just 3 games to play. Here tonight's game on WTMJ with coverage beginning after the 6 o'clock news. And round 1 of the Masters underway on a sunny day at Augusta National. Aaron Rai and Steven Yeager share the lead at 4 under par through 10 holes.
Let's check out the roads right now with your WTMJ. Time saver traffic, much better than it was this morning when we had that deadly crash. In fact, there's not much out here. We've got a disabled vehicle on the ramp from Wisconsin 165 to 4194 North, but other than that, that's it. Your traffic sponsored by the all-new Burghardt Sporting Goods.
The all-new Burghardt Sporting Goods, the Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center in New Berlin and Fox Point.
There is some rain on the radar a little bit north and west of Milwaukee, not Beaver Dam or so. It'll kind of sweep through some of the southwestern counties here in our listening area, so probably not going to hit Milwaukee County or Waukesha or counties to the north, but you might see some sprinkles if you're a little further west. Again, right now, a pretty good cell, as a matter of fact, around Beaver Dam. It's going to be chilly today with a high of 41 degrees, clear tonight, a low of 33. Sun returns on Friday with a high of 51. Looks like we'll hit the 60 mark inland under sunny skies on Saturday, 64 the high inland on Sunday. 41 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
In name only, Jessica's going to carry the show while I watch round one of the Masters. Thank you in advance for handling things today.
Oh, yeah, you're out, huh? Isn't that what you said to me when the NCAA tournament started?
Yes, and I was here mostly. I think throughout the course of those early shows with an eye on what was going on, right?
Okay.
Beautiful day at Augusta. When it's 41 degrees, it's rainy, it's sleety, or whatever the heck it was last night, it is hard not to take your mind to Augusta National on a 75-degree day where the azaleas are popping and the greenest of green grass is glowing as the golfers make their way around the course.
I will say parts of our area lucked out yesterday.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot worse. I know down in downtown Milwaukee, really, it wasn't that bad. But I know out in the burbs it was slushy. But it could have been worse.
It's kind of a sleety mess a little bit last night. So round one of the Masters underway. Bucks at home tonight against the Pelicans. Brewers afternoon baseball. Sports, we got you covered. How about the other big stuff here at 11:10?
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number one, so much uncertainty. Stock markets slid again at the opening bell a day after historic gains. Markets jumped yesterday when President Trump put a 90-day pause on some of his tariffs. ABC's chief business correspondent Rebecca Jarvis says today's drop is likely due to the questions still swirling around the tariffs and the trade deals the White House is still trying to work out.
What the market is doing is it's reflecting the degrees of uncertainty that still exist. This pause is something that many of the president's supporters were calling for, and it was so that this White House, the administration, can make these negotiations, can sift through some of the questions that exist without doing damage.
Meanwhile, the bond market is showing signs of recovery. We'll explain why that's important coming up at 11:16. We'll also give you the results of the new report on inflation.
Number two, a pre-trial hearing continues today in Idaho where Brian Kohberger is accused of killing 4 university students in November of 2022.
The defense wants Kohberger's family to be able to attend the trial.
From the minute this trial begins, the jury is going to study Mr. Kohberger, and they are going to figure out who is in this courtroom sitting behind him to support him.
Kohberger's autism spectrum disorder diagnoses, also another issue in the case.
That's ABC's Zoreen Shah. Kohberger's lawyers believe autism has had a significant impact on his life and continues to impact his daily life. Jurors may unfairly scrutinize his reactions in court as he maintains a flat affect and shows no emotion on his face. The judge overseeing agrees that terms such as sociopath and psychopath should not be used to describe Kohberger in court. The trial is expected to begin in August.
Number three, more than 210 people are now confirmed dead at that nightclub tragedy in the Dominican Republic. No survivors have been pulled from the rubble since Tuesday afternoon, hours after the roof collapsed during a concert. ABC's Victor Oquendo is on the scene in Santo Domingo.
This is the area where family, friends, and volunteers have been for days now, waiting for word and praying. And yes, overnight, this did shift into a recovery operation.
So no longer a rescue operation. Authorities say they'll focus on recovering the bodies before they shift entirely into the investigation phase. The big question, of course, how did this happen? Why did it happen?
Coming up next, what caused a U.S. congressman to blow up yesterday?
He announced it on a tweet. WTF?
We'll have it after this.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
For 70 years, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in the state of Wisconsin. Greg Matzek here. If you got a garage door issue, you solve it with Geis. No doubt. Call my friends at Geist. They've got brands like CHI and LiftMaster in stock. Doors for every budget. They'll even build custom designs. Whatever meets your exact needs, Geist can take care of it. Could not believe how many doors and openers they had in stock. I did a tour of their showroom not too long ago. It's right off Barker Road in Brookfield. And you want to talk about a quick turnaround time for your project? Well, the amount of doors and openers they have in stock ready to go for you, that is amazing. When you got a busted garage door, you want to get back in the game quickly. That's why you make a phone call to Geist. Don't think twice. Call Geist for swift and reliable garage repair solutions. Visit geistdoors.com.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority. They are your premium provider for eye care and corrective eye surgeries. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Dr. Nausheen Abbas joined the Holtebeck Eye Center team last September, and her practice philosophy is to provide patient-centered medicine by giving all options. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Mostly cloudy today, a possible shower west. In fact, there is some rain right now in the Beaver Dam area, sweeping its way a little bit south and to the east, so it might clip the western portion of our listening area. Clear skies tonight, a low of 33. Sun returns on Friday, a high of 51. 60 the high inland on Saturday, 64 the high inland on Sunday. 38 degrees, cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:16. Well, the markets continue to be all over the place in the wake of President Trump's 90-day pause on tariffs. Do you have a favorite term, a descriptive word to describe what's happened on Wall Street?
I just feel like the wild markets are giving me whiplash.
Yeah, whiplash, seesaw. I like wildly gyrating as a descriptive term.
That's a new one.
I know. CNN used it, and I kind of like it. It's a really descriptive term for what is going on with the markets. So, fresh off Trump's announcement yesterday of this 90-day pause on tariffs, there was a Ways and Means Committee meeting in which Nevada Congressman Stephen Horsford took one of Trump's trade reps to task. Here's what he had to say.
He announced it on a tweet. WTF? Who's in charge?
The President of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Well, as I mentioned...
it looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you. Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to reset the global trade system.
Yeah, market manipulation is what the Nevada congressman asserts. Wanted to welcome in ABC's Brian Clark. So, Brian, there is this 90-day pause, but what do you make of the pause and where we go from here?
I think you guys are talking about your favorite cliche. I think roller coaster is the most appropriate here. And right now, as markets open today, we are on the roller coaster going down because there is a sharp sell-off giving back a lot of those gains from yesterday. The Dow, it depends what time you look at it, but it's down a couple hundred points. It's exactly what you said, that we are by no means through with this trade war.
Something that not everyone pays attention to is the bond market. And it looks like President Trump was paying attention to that. How did the bond market play into all of this and the pause?
It seems like that's what prompted the pause. The bond market essentially is the safe haven traditionally. If the stock market is bad, people park their money in bonds, long-term U.S. Treasury bonds. It's considered a very safe asset. But here we have the stock market going bad, and there was no increase in the amount of people buying. There was no increase in demand for bonds. People didn't want to buy bonds. So that really spooked the people who do pay attention to bond markets. And those people happen to be in the White House and be in our upper reaches of government. And that seems to be a key driver of what made President Trump change course here.
So Jamison Greer is scoffed at the notion that there was market manipulation happening here. And this came moments after Trump sent out the tweet to pause the tariffs for most nations and countries. Congressman Horsford's assertion that this was market manipulation yesterday, is that a fair criticism?
That's probably overstating it a bit, but you could also, I'm sure what he would say, you look at what President Trump was sending out on social media earlier in the day, essentially saying, buy now. And if you did buy at that point when he sent that message out, you would have made a lot of money because the market was several hundred points lower at that moment in time. So if somebody knew something, were there chances to really turn a profit? Yes, there were. And that's, it's reignited a lot of those complaints about elected officials being able to trade stocks, because here was another example of where if you had the information, you could turn a profit.
Brian, the new report on inflation just came out this morning. What does it show?
It shows that the inflation's better than expected, actually. Prices cooled off, price increases cooled off in March, up 2.4%. That's lower than expected, but there's a huge caveat, and that is that these numbers were collected before the tariff announcement. So we don't have the tariffs reflected in this report. But something else that's encouraging, energy prices brought it down. But if you look at core prices, and that excludes energy and food because they're more volatile, core prices had their lowest yearly increase since March of 2021, and that's when inflation really picked up. So on the whole, it was a good inflation report. It just comes with that big caveat.
Federal Reserve will meet again on May 7th to make its next interest rate decision. President Trump has said rates should be decreased. Is there an outlook? Is there a crystal ball kind of view on this?
It seems like it's going. That's another potential showdown here, but it seems like the Federal Reserve might wait. And obviously, as we've seen over the last few days, a lot can happen in a very short period of time. But given this substantial just shock to the world, the global economy with these tariffs and with this trade war, you would also think that the Fed maybe doesn't want to cut the rates yet. But at the same time, if we're seeing a sell-off today, if activity continues to slow, if we see more signs of fatigue, then maybe a rate cut is what they think is the best course forward.
And so here we have a 90-day pause, but the bottom line is the trade war is not over. So what should people know and think about moving forward?
Well, that's a great point. And I think the first thing to think about is how the trade war has only escalated with China. And China is where we get so many of our goods. So that's going to have a significant disruption. There's also still tariffs in place on everything of 10%. That's the baseline. And even goods like imported cars or car parts, they're still subject to a 25% tariff. So, yes, it's not as severe as they were going to be, but there's still a significant tariff. That's why some people, we're hearing reports of people going out to, big box stores and trying to buy up goods in case they think the prices are going to go up. We're not saying you have to panic buy, but just think about, okay, if something becomes a lot more expensive in a short period of time, maybe do I want it now? Personally, I was thinking maybe I should get a new iPhone now because mine's pretty beat up and it might be a lot more expensive in 6 months.
Sure.
So everybody's got to do that math.
Well, you got that cracked screen, Brian. You got to get rid of the cracked screen. You need a new phone.
It's actually on the back. It's not the screen. The back is shattered in a million pieces.
Oh, man. Yeah, you better run out there.
Yeah, been there. ABC's Brian Clark. We appreciate your time and perspective, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
70 years ago, the Blaine brothers founded Blaine's Farm and Fleet as one of the nation's first retail stores to sell goods at a discount. And we've helped supply Midwest farms and families with quality products at unbeatable prices ever since. Like Laren vehicle lift equipment and ramps, 25% off while supplies last. 15% off Hopkins trailer wiring and adapters. Plus, visit us at the Midwest Horse Fair for your chance to win over $5,000 in giveaways. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
Hey, time to give away some tickets. Here we go. 2 tickets to Jim Gaffigan's show at the Riverside Theater, April 13th. That is coming up here. 2 tickets, I should say. right now for caller number 6. Caller number 6, you'll see Jim Gaffigan's April 13th show at the Riverside. Jim Gaffigan, unique brand of humor, strong Wisconsin ties, 7-time Grammy-nominated comedian, puts on a great special. This will be his 11th. You'll want to check it out. He'll be at the Riverside later this week, April 13th to be exact, and you can win tickets for that show right now if you're caller number 6 at 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. Good luck.
Do you enjoy researching sofas before you buy?
No.
Do you compare product ratings?
No way.
Are you interested in knowing everything about your new sofa?
Absolutely not. I just want the best sofa, period.
Sounds like you want the SB261 sofa from Penny Mustard.
If it's the best sofa, then yes, that's the one.
It's our #1 bestseller.
Fine.
The SB261 sofa has a classic, exquisite look.
Great.
I've never heard anybody say a negative word about it.
I'm sold.
If the SB261 sofa was in high school, it would be voted homecoming queen and king.
I'm ready to buy.
5 stars, A+, and everyone's thumbs are up.
Stop talking and take my money.
The SB261 sofa, American made with solid wood frame, individual seat springs, unsmooshable Qualex Ultra Foam, and thousands of fabric and leather options, starting at $29.30 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
The best versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes.
11:25 on WTMJ. Wisconsin's Midday News continues. Greg and Jessica with you till 1 o'clock. Time now to recognize another everyday hero. WTMJ's Eric Bilstad has it.
Every day, superhero, trying to save the world, but never really.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we identify an everyday hero as an average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning they'd be saving a life. Today, we head to Riviera Beach, Florida. Fernando Carrera. He's from South Carolina, and he was visiting family on Singer Island.
We came visiting here. I walk a 15-minute walk on the beach. Turns out into saving some people's lives, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, multiple lives. So here's what happened. Fernando was walking the beach when he heard someone screaming from the water. A man clearly in distress. So what did Fernando do? Well, with no hesitation, he goes after him.
When I made the decision, I'm going in, I said, Lord, please don't let this be my last day.
Fernando tells NBC5 WPTV in West Palm that when he finally got to the guy,
I tried to tell him, stay with me. He can hear me. He sees me coming. And so finally, I reach out to him. I get a hold of him.
So he gets a hold of him, is able to get this man out of the water. Other people rush to the scene to help this guy, and all is well. And Fernando's an everyday hero, right? But wait.
And so I turn around, and there's 2 more people, farther in. And I'm like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, there are others. Fernando sees 2 teenagers out there struggling to get back into shore. So
I grab both of them, and I just take them out of the water.
All of it caught on video. Just text the word hero to the WTMJ talk and text line, 855-616-1620. First responders ultimately arrive, and WPTV reports there were current issues that day, so rip current problems, and officials say 5 people had to be rescued and taken to the hospital. Now, everyone's okay, thanks in part to Fernando Carrera.
I could not live with myself if I just don't jump on the water there. If it happens again, I'll do it again.
Thank you, Fernando, for being an everyday hero. Everyday Hero, sponsored by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care. Eric Bilstad, WTMJ News.
Oh, it's good stuff from Eric. And we'll have the news coming up. Bottom of the hour headlines, national headlines as well, coming up after this.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, our weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market and how it affects Wisconsin businesses and residents. It's sponsored by the original Knowledge Broker, R&R Insurance. Joining us is Jeff Salazinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations. Jeff, we talked for quite some time about the disruption that mergers and acquisitions in the insurance industry can cause. So what did 2024 look like, and what do you see ahead for 25?
Thanks, Vince. Great to be here. It was another incredibly busy year for mergers and acquisitions in our space. Over 750 agents and brokers chose to sell their business in 2024, and that follows 833 deals in 2023.
So, Jeff, remind us again why that's important for folks who are listening right now.
Vince, when your agent or broker sells their business, it means uncertainty. disruption, and in many cases, new relationships. Does any of this sound desirable if you're a business owner or a homeowner looking for guidance? New owners have new demands on the acquired business. New systems mean employees and sales staff will be internally focused for extended periods of time. The focus becomes very much internal, away from the customer, as those acquired organizations figure out who's in charge, what systems are we going to use, and what does my future role look like going forward. Wisconsin agencies and brokers haven't been immune to this activity and distraction either. Lots of activity in our state. We've even seen a few organizations on their second new owner in just a couple of years.
Jeff, I've heard you say it before. We are not for sale. Give us a recommendation for R&R Insurance.
Vince, we're fiercely independent. We've been family-owned for almost 50 years. Independent means we make our own decisions. This allows us to be client-focused and direct our energy and resources toward client value, not private equity returns or shareholder returns. If you're looking for a better insurance purchasing experience with a top 100 agency in the country, we'd love to speak with you. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
It's 11:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Thursday, April 10th. Your top story, a local school on secure hold.
I'm Jessica Tighe. Just how much will these tariffs impact consumers?
Mostly cloudy today, some rain to the west, high of 41, clearing skies tonight, a low of 33 degrees. It's currently 38 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:30.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. Stocks are nearly wiping out most of the gains from yesterday's historic rally after President Trump announced a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs while he cuts deals with countries. Investors and businesses, though, remain concerned over those remaining tariffs on global goods and a 125% tax on Chinese imports.
They're not giving details of what exactly they're discussing with these countries, what they're looking to see as concessions to get these deals across the finish line. 75 countries, they say, have reached out to try and strike some sort of trade deal. They now have this 90-day pause to continue these negotiations.
ABC's Karen Travers. That uncertainty playing out for small business owners like Kason Crane, founder of Explorer Cold Brew Coffee. He says coffee has not been part of tariffs since the 1800s and poses a threat to his business.
We're already priced at the top range of the set, and we don't really have the power to negotiate with our...
The president meets with cabinet members today.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:31. A developing story in Pewaukee where the school district is on a secure hold as a precaution as police investigate a security concern. Pewaukee Village Police Department are on the scene. Families are asked not to come to campus. 4K parents picking up their children should look for an email with instructions. Pickup will be at the regular time with controlled dismissal.
A woman is dead after being hit by a train in Wauwatosa. The 67-year-old from Milwaukee was hit by a Union Pacific train near 111th and Burleigh. This happened yesterday afternoon. Union Pacific says the train hit a trespasser and it wasn't at the crossing. No one on the train was hurt.
A shuttered Milwaukee wedding venue gets sued by their property owner for unpaid rent and storage costs.
Several couples were left without a venue for their big day earlier this year when Black Swan Enterprises, operating out of the 3rd Ward, suddenly closed down, citing their property owners not providing, quote, tenant improvement funds. Now that property owner, DOC 309 Renaissance LLC, is responding, saying in a recently filed lawsuit, Black Swan had agreed to pay them certain taxes as well as utilities and operating costs. A check of records with the Wisconsin Department of Revenue shows Black Swan is delinquent over $26,000 in state taxes. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
China retaliates with 84% tariffs on U.S. goods after President Trump imposed 145% tariffs on their goods. The president of the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce says those tariffs will cost us more.
$600 billion in tariffs is $600 billion in new taxes, which is more than the entire U.S. government collects in corporate income taxes. So it would be inflationary.
Dale Koinga says the administration needs to be more selective on which countries to impose tariffs on.
More international students have their visas revoked, this time at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. The 10 students and recent grads from UWM joined the 13 from UW-Madison in having their status terminated. UWM outgoing Chancellor Mark Monier confirms no specific reason was given to the revocations, but there is no reason to believe the terminations are specific to participation in free speech events or political activity. The terminations come just 1 month before the end of the spring semester.
Federal funding cuts may impact your next trip to the library. Deb Merritt with the Milwaukee County Federated Library System says libraries are about more than just books.
Everyone can come in. They're warming and cooling centers. They provide computer literacy courses, all kinds of programming for all ages, a lot of job resource help and training. It just goes on and on.
Merritt encourages donations to local libraries in the wake of federal funding cuts to public libraries as well as museums.
They're underway at Augusta. We'll have a Masters update and all of sports, traffic, and weather right after this. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
It's time for you and that diamond to come alive again.
At the 4th annual Spring Ring Cleaning at Kessler's.
Even if you have a good ultrasonic jewelry cleaner, it can't match the pressurized steam cleaning we do at Kessler's.
Let us steam clean and polish your engagement ring.
For free.
I'm Joe Gerke, president of Kessler's, and we want to strip away all the soap scum that is making your diamond look dull.
For free. And while we're doing it, we'll inspect the prongs on your ring to make sure your diamond isn't about to fall out.
It's the 4th annual Spring Ring Cleaning at Kessler's.
Here's another idea. Bring us anything you own that needs to be repaired, and we'll give you a price to make it like new again.
And if you have some old jewelry you don't wear anymore,
We can make something unique and wonderful out of it.
unique in all the world.
Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, visit Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Okay, there's some winning magic powering up at Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee. Greg Matzek here. Let me tell you about it. Throughout the month of April, prepare for an exciting quest to win up to $300,000, your share of it, in the Enchanted Spins Slot Tournament. Just get your rewards card and play your favorite slots to earn drawing entries. There will be an entry or drawing every Thursday. 60 winners will compete for thousands in cash in prizes. It's Enchanted Spins. It's only at Potawatomi. And while you're there, check out the sports book. It is fantastic. No better place to watch sports of any kind than on that 2,000 square foot video wall. Grab yourself a nice meal, maybe something to drink, and enjoy. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook and the beautiful and redesigned, reimagined Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee.
Steel walk behind, zero turn, and stand on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
You just can't pass on Less's Glass. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. Brewers looking for a sweep of the Rockies this afternoon with Quinn Priester making his Brewers debut. Brewers traded for him earlier this week. Brewers GM Matt Arnold, the guest on Wisconsin's Morning News.
This guy can help us now and in the future as well. I mean, he's still only 24 years old, and he's not a finished product, but this guy has really good stuff and a really good arm and good ingredients to work with.
2:10, the first pitch today. Our coverage begins at 1:35. And the Bucks take on the Pelicans tonight. Milwaukee begins the day in the 5th position in the Eastern Conference playoff race with 3 games to play. You can hear tonight's game on WTMJ with coverage beginning after the 6 o'clock news. And on the course at Augusta National, Stephen Yeager, your leader, through 11 holes. He is 4 under par. Scotty Scheffler, 3 under par. Aaron Rai, Joaquin Niemann, both a couple of shots off the pace at 2 under par. About 70% of the field is on the course, 30% waiting to tee off.
Let's get an update on the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic. Not looking too bad right now. We do have a disabled vehicle, a new one, on the ramp from Drexel Avenue to 4194 North. That is in Milwaukee County. Once again, a new disabled vehicle on the ramp from Drexel Avenue to 4194 North. That's a busy spot. Traffic is slowing down just a little bit around it, but I do see that somebody just got out and got back in their car, and hopefully it's just a short-term delay for this one, and that car is on out of here. But other than that, we're looking pretty good.
Mostly cloudy, isolated shower mainly to the west. It's going to clip Waukesha County. It seemed to be coming down a little heavier a little while ago in Beaver Dam. So that's kind of moving south and a little bit to the east. Clearing skies tonight, low of 33. Sun returns on Friday and a high of 51. Could hit 60 inland on Saturday and Sunday. It's 38 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:39.
Doesn't it feel like every month now there's a story about some unruly passenger on a plane?
I would say even more frequent than that.
You might
it's
be
what
right.
It feels like, yeah.
Yeah, well, this one really makes me feel for the others on board. This incident happened this week on an American Airlines flight from New York to Milan. The crew had to turn the plane around and go back. So it wasn't just like this quick little incident. Nope. It forced the entire crew and the pilots to say, we've got to turn around, we've got to go back. And this wasn't like a quick trip. I mean, they were headed overseas. The airline says the incidents escalated while the plane was over the Atlantic. ABC's Trevor Ault explains what exactly happened.
American says several hours into the flight, the man was upset he didn't get the in-flight meal he believed he'd requested. He also tried taking an exit row, challenging flight attendants when told he couldn't sit there because he was traveling with a child.
See, and that's a problem because that's a rule, right? You have to be a certain age to sit in the exit row, and
Sure.
you have to listen, and you have to give that verbal cue that, yes, I will do this. I will be the one to help. And think about it, we have seen quite a few emergencies lately, too. So you don't want a kid sitting in that exit row. Those are the rules. And then the guy's mad, too, because he didn't get the meat. He got the veggie meal instead. Yeah. But police boarded the plane when it landed back in New York, but the man was not charged. The flight took off later on Tuesday morning, and guess what the passengers got? They got meal vouchers.
Meal vouchers. There you go. Get a stale bagel and a warm Diet Coke for delaying your trip to Italy.
Yeah, that really surprised me. I thought, really? American Airlines, and they're just going to get meal vouchers. They were over the Atlantic Ocean on their way to Milan.
Okay, so now it doesn't take much to get from JFK to over the Atlantic Ocean. I do wonder how far into that trip they were. Certainly not to the halfway point, right? Otherwise, you're not turning around and going back. But yes, in not all the cases, but in many cases, these are overnight flights going that way, that direction, presumably. Some people might have been unaware of what was happening and asleep in a different portion of the plane. I made that trip with my wife last year. We did an Italy and Switzerland adventure.
That's right,
and we flew one of our stops. It was, I think, Chicago to JFK, then JFK to Milan. We got on that plane. We're excited. We're traveling. It's springtime, early summer, and we are so thrilled to go on this trip. We'd never done it before, celebrating an anniversary. That's why people go to Italy, right? It's a magical destination to visit. It's not a day trip. So you're delaying a trip of a lifetime for some people with this.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases, you lose a day, and a day is a big deal when you're going overseas, for sure. And, we don't know all of the details about this man. Of course, we have certainly seen in the past where there's some mental health issues with some of these people. But we'll see what happens with this. But this guy, in this case, it just sounds like a guy who was mad. He didn't get the meal he wanted, and then he wanted to sit in the exit row. Of course, he wants, some extra leg room. It is roomier up there, but you can't sit there with a kid.
Oh, goodness.
So, I don't know. Not a good one.
I have another story about a flight going out of JFK.
Oh.
We don't have time for it now. We have to get to Dr. Weston. But it involves an emotional support parrot.
A parrot?
We'll get to that a little bit later in the program.
That could be stories of the strange.
It may end up being that.
Maybe we hear that one tomorrow.
Hopefully the lady gets home from Puerto Rico.
Oh, jeez.
11:43 on WTMJ. It is time for our weekly wellness check with Dr. Ben Weston of the Medical College of Wisconsin. He joins us right after this.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profile the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes. There, yeah, she flew off the road right at a bridge, so she went down an embankment. No one could see her vehicle until a guy named Johnny Martinez happened to come by.
I said, "Ma'am, how long have you been here?" And she said, "I've been here since Wednesday night." And I said, no, it's today's Tuesday.
Everyday Hero, Thursdays at 6:40. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Hey, thanks, Eric. Hey, Wisconsin's hometown pizza is Palermo's. We had a Palermo's pizza in the oven and on the dinner table 2 nights ago, as a matter of fact, kind of running in 5 different directions. That's sort of what it seems to be for us many times in the spring. But alas, we had a Palermo's in the freezer, and it was the perfect solution for dinner. Easy, tastes great, everybody is happy. Screamin' Sicilian, that's what we had. The big pepperoni pizza, my goodness. Overflowing with toppings, and right now you can get a Screamin' deal on Screamin' Sicilian tavern-style pizzas. $5.99 now through April 15th at Festival Foods. Let that sink in. Less than $6 now through April 15th at your local Festival Foods. Stock up on Screamin' Sicilian tavern-style pizzas. Palermo's making pizzas the best for 60 years and doing it the right way, doing it right here in Wisconsin. Wherever you like to shop, there's a slice for every appetite. It's Palermo's, Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi, and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handled all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
You can search for the biggest bat selection, but I'm here to save you time because the best baseball and softball bat selection in the Midwest is right here at Burkhardt Sporting Goods. We stock just about every bat on the market from all the top manufacturers like Easton, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Marucci, and more, and sell them all at the guaranteed lowest prices. So get in here and try a few out in our indoor batting cages. There's no need to look any further because when it comes to bats, if you want it, we got it at Burkhardt Sporting Goods.
You can't beat Burkhardt.
When you run a team, you want great uniforms, and you know selling spirit wear is vital. That's why Burkhardt Sporting Goods will create a free custom website for you to sell your families and players the coolest spirit wear from Nike and Under Armour, as well as the basics, while helping you fundraise at the same time. We take the hassle out of coordinating your team's apparel and make shopping and buying easy. So when you need awesome spirit wear and uniforms for your organization, you can't beat Burkhardt.
You can't beat Burkhardt.
Outdoor Living Unlimited puts cool stuff in your yard. Patios, decks, pergolas, outdoor kitchens, screen rooms, even in-ground pools. You dream it, we design it together, then Outdoor Living Unlimited installs it for you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Hi, this is Bruce Nemovitz, Senior Real Estate Specialist and founder of Bruce's Team. We understand that moving from your longtime home can feel overwhelming. Ready for a smaller space, warmer climate, want to live closer to the grandkids, or you're just sick of the upkeep? From downsizing to preparing your home for sale, our team has guided over 3,000 families through the transition. Bruce's Team helps you every step of the way. Let us take you from overwhelmed to I can do this. Visit brucesteam.com today.
Well, some rain coming down to the west of Milwaukee right now. It'll move its way out. Nothing terribly severe, but kind of a nasty day here. High of 41 degrees, overnight low of 31. Sun returns on Friday with a high of 51 degrees, back into the 60s for Saturday and Sunday inland. 38 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:47.
Doctor, doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you.
Time for our weekly wellness check. A check-in with Dr. Ben Weston, Medical College of Wisconsin and Chief Health Policy Advisor for Milwaukee County. Hi, Dr. Weston.
Good to be with you.
Yeah, great to have you on with us as always. Measles back in the news. Really, it's never left the news here with vaccination rates in many states across the country. Subpar, suboptimal. We've seen a second death now in the state of Texas. I wanted to ask about vaccination rates. We've talked about the idea of having the vaccine against measles, but what does it look like in the state of Wisconsin as compared to this community in Texas where vaccinations doesn't seem to be top of mind?
Right. Unfortunately, it's not too terribly different in Wisconsin. In fact, we're lower overall than Texas. So the Wisconsin Department of Health Services reported that in 2023, that's the last time we had a full data set, not even 82%, it was 81.6% of 2-year-olds had at least one dose of the measles vaccine. Now, that's down from over 88% just 10 years ago. So this is something to pay close attention to because our vaccination rates dipping below 95%, let alone down to those 80%, creates fertile ground for outbreaks. Texas actually has quite a bit more vaccine, a lot more folks vaccinated than we do in Wisconsin. So we really are ripe for an outbreak here in Wisconsin.
Dr. Weston, can you explain how the measles attack an unvaccinated child's immune system? Because I think it's important for people to realize how much more vulnerable a child who is not vaccinated is to severe complications compared to the kids who have the vaccine.
Absolutely. I mean, we know measles is extremely contagious, but in unvaccinated children, that immune system just isn't prepared, and the body's defenses are slower. And so this allows the virus to replicate and spread rapidly, which can increase the risk of severe complications. And we see that, especially when we get large numbers, hundreds of kids who get measles like this. About 1 out of 5 gets hospitalized. 1 out of 1,000 develops this swelling and inflammation in their brain that can result in permanent brain damage. You can also get lung pneumonia, 1 in 20 children. And then, as we've seen reflected with the number of kids, unfortunately, down in Texas, about 3 out of 1,000 children will die from measles due to these complications.
So where can you go, right? If you need the flu shot, you can just pop into Walgreens. No need to go to your primary, provider. But what can you do for measles? Where can you go?
Right. So for parents, here are the 3 key things to know. So number 1, the measles vaccine is safe and it's well proven. It's been on the market for over 50 years. Number 2, the measles vaccine is highly effective. 2 doses provide about 97% protection, and you want to get that first dose between 12 and 15 months old. And number 3, the vaccine is easy to get. It's being offered at the Milwaukee Health Department. Call other health departments depending on where you live. It's also at pharmacies, primary care offices. You can get it in all sorts of different places.
Another big health issue right now, seasonal allergies. When I was in the newsroom yesterday, one of our reporters sounded stuffy, was sneezing, was kind of coughing. And I said, are you fighting like a cold? And he said, either a cold or allergies. He's like, that pops up for me too. I know a lot of people are dealing with that. What are the most common seasonal allergies? And how do they affect people differently depending on the season?
Yeah, so seasonal allergies are typically triggered by different environmental allergens, and it does depend on the time of year. So, for example, tree pollen is the major culprit in early spring, like what we're seeing right now, March and April. As we get into late spring and summer, we start to see grass pollen. That usually peaks June to July. And then ragweed as we get into the fall, especially August to November, particularly here in the Midwest as well as on the East Coast. Now, what becomes interesting is each of these different allergens affect people in different ways at different times. And so you may know that you get spring allergies or fall allergies or summer. But for people who are allergic to more than one, managing those symptoms becomes especially challenging with the change of seasons.
Dr. Weston, can allergies develop over time? Here's an example. We were in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, and there's this yellowy dust I noticed all over vehicles, right? Something is falling out of the sky, landing on cars, and every car looks dirty driving around the greater Atlanta area. And my eyes started to itch a little bit, and they kind of burned a little bit. I don't have any known allergies, but I'm sure I'm allergic to something. Do these develop over time?
They can develop over time. So certainly our immune system can change, and it can overreact in ways that it hasn't in the past. And that's really what allergies are. Now, as you get older, seasonal allergies can appear. Once you get into your kind of 40s to 60s, it's less likely, but it is possible, especially with those sort of environmental allergies. But it's also important to remember, being in a different environment like you were, you might just be exposed to a different kind of tree, a different kind of pollen than you are here in Wisconsin, and it's kicking up an allergy you just didn't know you had.
Dr. Weston, I had mentioned that reporter in the newsroom the other day who I was talking to who was like, well, it's either a cold or seasonal allergies. I think there are a handful of people in that same boat. How do you differentiate? How do you know that, now that's not a cold, this is allergies, and vice versa?
It can be really tricky to tell the difference. The symptoms, things like runny nose and congestion, they often overlap in both conditions. Now, a few of the hints, unlike colds, seasonal allergies usually last longer. It's not just going to be a few days or a week. And allergy symptoms like sneezing, itching, stuffy nose, they're usually present without the other stuff that comes with infection, body aches, sore throat, sometimes a fever that can go along with it. So these are some of the ways to differentiate. But in the early stages, it can be really tricky.
Dr. Ben Weston joining us, our weekly wellness update here on WTMJ. Wanted to move ahead to exercise. We talk about regular exercise, get out and walk, do something. Cardio is great, getting that heart rate up. But what about the importance of resistance training and how it may affect our overall health?
Yeah, so resistance training, strength training, it's a great way to improve sleep, actually, because it not only strengthens your muscles, but it also helps to regulate hormones that are a key to restful night's sleep. So when you're engaging in activities like weightlifting or squats or push-ups, your body releases growth hormones, it releases testosterone, and both of these have been associated with deeper and more restorative sleep. In fact, a recent study found that people doing only resistance training for a year increased their sleep at night, adding an average of 40 minutes, which is quite a bit, actually, when you think about the amount that you sleep each night.
Yeah, that's significant. I think I lost 40 minutes. My alarm went off earlier, and then I couldn't go back to sleep. Oh, there goes 40 minutes. That's huge.
Do some push-ups.
Yeah, yeah. Get out of bed, do some push-ups, get back in. So you mentioned kind of like the short-term impact. So say, one night, 40 minutes of sleep there. What are the potential long-term benefits of combining resistance training with aerobic exercise in terms of sleep quality and also your overall health?
Right. So when you pair those two things, you pair the resistance training and the aerobic exercise, maybe you do it every other day or however it works for you, you're getting a more well-rounded approach to target multiple aspects of health. So while the aerobic exercise has a lot of benefits regarding cardiovascular health in particular, pairing that with the resistance training can give you added benefits. So things like increased bone density, better balance, or increased strength, not to mention the sleep benefits as well.
I enjoy lifting weights. I still do it on occasion, not as much as I did when I was in college, but still I think it's an important part of my overall health. What can folks who are maybe a little older than me, Dr. Weston, do if they don't have that gym membership, they don't really have it as part of their daily routine? What are some simple things you can do to sort of get started down that path?
Yeah, so for seniors in particular, resistance exercises can provide a lot of benefits. Certainly sleep is among them, but even simple at-home exercises, things like chair squats, where you're just sitting down in the chair and standing back up, those sort of things. Standing wall push-ups, you're kind of leaning against the wall, doing a push-up, but against the wall instead of the floor, or using just simple resistance bands. These can be great ways to introduce yourself to resistance training without overdoing it, but starting to get those added benefits. And even just a few sessions of this per week can make a noticeable difference in not just improving overall physical health, but improving sleep quality as well. So try it out today. Let us know. Send a message over social media or let us know how it's going and if it affected your sleep.
Good stuff. Always great information. Our weekly wellness check with Dr. Ben Weston. Thank you, Dr. Ben.
Thanks.
Thank you.
News coming up soon, 11:56 on WTMJ.
You should be listening to Wisconsin's Midday News each weekday from 11 to 1.
Bucks President Peter Feigin joins us live here in the studio right now.
But if you missed us, catch up anytime with Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe by listening to the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast.
What you're seeing now is like the reality of, playing a season together, kind of, getting to know each other.
Powered by Siding Unlimited, siding, and a whole lot more.
Don't forget, take us with you wherever you go. We'd love to have you with us. Sure would. Thanks, Greg. Hey, me again here for Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee. Such great people at Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee. Expert advice made easy. You know what I'm talking about here. Roller shades, blinds, all the things that'll make your windows pop a little bit. We did next to nothing when we built our house in the world of window treatments, and we don't regret that decision. We weren't sure where the light would be and how it would shine and what we wanted to darken up a little. I made a couple of quote-unquote improvements using the big box store, and it's not worked out very well. Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee to the rescue. Call now and book now. Custom blinds, expert advice, stress-free installation. If you look at their Google reviews, Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee, they consistently receive positive reviews, praising their professionalism, their expertise, helpful recommendations. You don't understand. These people are design experts. They also have an eye for engineering, stuff that looks great and works great. Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee. Custom blinds, expert advice, stress-free installation. Book a free consultation. They'll come out, and in most cases, they'll have a quote for the project before they even leave. It's high-quality blinds with professional guidance. You can rely on the folks at Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee.
It's our lowest prices of the season, in-store and online at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Right now, shop the season's best values on supplies to make projects your own. In our Tire and Auto Service Center, select tires or buy 3, get 1 free for rewards members. Plus, get an extra $25 reward savings on 4 Cooper or Goodyear tires. Just ask an associate for details and learn about our best tire price promise. Don't miss our lowest prices of the season, only at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors. Grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com to learn more.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now is the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality, and we'd like to help you too. And the best part, your plan will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, we're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
Built Right, one location saves you money.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
The Buck season is in the home stretch. Time to get rid of those pesky Pelicans.
Catch and shoot three. Bobby Portis has cut the deficit in half with one fell swoop.
Our coverage starts tonight at 6 with Buck Shoot Around. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
12:01, I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Thursday, April 10th. Your top story, all clear at Pewaukee schools.
I'm Jessica Tighe, clarifying the tariffs on China.
Mostly cloudy and isolated shower, mainly to the west, a high of 41. Clearing skies and a low of 33. 38 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:02. From the WTMJ breaking newsroom, the Pewaukee School District ends a secure hold on the school's buildings. Pewaukee Village Police responded about 10:30 this morning after concerning comments were overheard by students. The rest of the day will continue as planned. The district wants parents to monitor their emails for any updates.
New details now about what led to the closure of I-43 in Milwaukee this morning.
After a car and a pickup truck that was towing a travel trailer crashed near North Avenue, an unrelated vehicle stopped at the crash scene. The sheriff's office says a 76-year-old woman from Milwaukee, believed to be a relative of one of the people involved in the first crash, exited her vehicle and was walking around the site when she was struck and killed by a 25-year-old man from Milwaukee. That man taken into custody under suspicion of OWI. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
In Washington, President Trump's trade tariffs against China are going even higher. CBS's Linda Kenyon has the latest from the White House.
The White House says it's a clarification.
When President Trump yesterday announced a 125% tariff on Chinese imports, he did not include the previously announced penalty of 20% for fentanyl. By adding that penalty, the tariff against China is now 145%. The Trump administration says these escalating tariffs follow China's decision to retaliate with higher tariffs of its own against U.S.-made products.
China is reaching out to other nations while refusing to negotiate with the United States, saying it would fight to end in a tariff war. China has retaliated with tariffs on U.S. goods of 84%, which took effect today.
Plans for tornado shelters in rural Wisconsin are being dismantled because disaster prevention aid was canceled.
After years of waiting for FEMA approval, the Cuba City and Potosi school districts were ready to break ground.
They were days away. All that we were waiting for was the Department of Homeland Security to approve the terms and conditions that would be attached to the grant.
The FEMA cuts cancel an entire program called Building Resilient Infrastructure in Communities. President of JBAD Solutions, Jordan Buss, tells WTMJ that program historically saves money.
For every dollar that's spent in pre-disaster mitigation, it's like spending $6 to $13 in post-disaster recovery.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Well, thousands expected to get their run on this weekend. The Milwaukee Marathon returns.
Race organizer Chip Hazuski says there will be a new route with this year's 26-mile race.
The race is going to go straight down KK, pretty much from National all the way down to Oklahoma. It makes for a little bit more scenic on through the Bayview neighborhood.
He also says that traveling around the city may be difficult during the marathon.
Closures start a little after 6, and it's kind of a rolling closure, rolling reopening. So by noon, you'll see everything fully reopened.
Sean Brenda, WTMJ News.
The marathon begins 7 o'clock Saturday morning. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A lot of the gains from yesterday wiped away here. The Dow currently down about 1,400 points at 39,192. NASDAQ off about 850 points at 16,288. S&P is off about 230 points at 5229. Annex Wealth Management. Visit annexwealth.com and know the difference.
The Pelicans are flying in right now. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:05.
A Rolex isn't as cheap as a Casio, and you can't buy a gold bar for the price of a candy bar. But while they last, you can buy high-end Beautyrest Black and Sealy Posturepedic mattresses for nowhere near high-end prices. Hassellus Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models. These are the best of the best, and now you can get them for way less. Like a Beautyrest Black LX Hybrid was $3,599, but now it's just $971. Or a Sealy Posturepedic Golden Acres Pillow Top was $1,093, but the floor model is just $546. Visit any employee-free, hassle-less showroom and test your favorite floor model without salespeople breathing down your neck. You won't find these mattresses priced this low anywhere else. It's like buying a Lamborghini for $10,000 just because it sat on the showroom floor. Only a few floor models are available at each Hassellus mattress location, and when they're gone for good. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at the Neal Group. Happy New Year. How's business? Do you really know? We recently worked with several clients who thought they knew, but didn't because their books were not in order. Imagine thinking you were making $1 million, but because your books are a mess, you were really only making $200,000. Quite a difference. Imagine finding out expenses were not properly recorded or sales were double recorded. If these happen to you, we can help. We work with our clients to clean up their books and give them the information they need to know where their business is now and where it is going in the future. Don't wait. Start on the path to less stress, more cash in your pocket, and no more sleepless nights. Call us at 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net today to book a meeting. We can talk over Zoom, the phone, in our office, or your place of business. Yes, we like to visit our business clients. Don't wait any longer. Call 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers go for a series sweep of the Rockies this afternoon in Denver after scoring 17 runs in a Wednesday night win. Coverage begins at 1:35 on WTMJ. NFL Draft begins 2 weeks from tonight in Green Bay. Packers president Mark Murphy clearing the air on a pre-draft instruction for general manager Brian Gutekunst.
The rumor that I have told Brian that he cannot trade out of the first round is not true. I
I went up to Brian after that, and I said, Brian, if you think the best thing for the Packers is to trade out of the first round, do it.
Murphy speaking with Jim, Matt, and Molly on ESPN Madison. And the Bucs take on the Pelicans tonight in Fiserv Forum. Milwaukee begins today in 5th position in the Eastern Conference playoff race. Just 3 games to play. We did confirm Pelicans do, in fact, fly.
I was pretty sure, but as I said that, just kind of thinking of a clever tease off the cuff, I was like, wait, they fly right? Oh, yes, they do. A lot of times you just see them on the ground, though, and they're so big, but yes, they do fly.
Kind of a giant, nasty bird. That's a mean one. That's a mean one.
Yeah. Masters
update, by the way, Scotty Scheffler and Tyrell Hatton, Justin Rose share the lead at 3 under par through about 9 holes.
Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic. We still have the disabled vehicle in Milwaukee County on the ramp from Drexel Avenue to 4194 North. Kind of looked like at one point that maybe it would get out of there quickly as somebody was walking around the car, which always, that can be dangerous. Be careful. But I will say now an emergency responder has pulled up. There's another vehicle behind it, so possibly somebody's trying to get a tire change. Looks like that's what it could be. Bottom line, we still have this disabled vehicle on the ramp from Drexel Avenue to 4194 North, and it's on the ramp. So that's causing cars to definitely slow down as they get around that and merge onto the freeway.
Traffic is sponsored by the Heiser Automotive Group. Come in and make that deal. Visit Heiser Automotive Group with 4 convenient locations or online at heiser.com. Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Lincoln, and Cadillac. Today's your day.
Might see a little bit of rain in the western part of Waukesha, I should say. There was a pretty good storm that hit Beaver Dam, and it's sort of dissipating but moving south and to the east. Probably not going to clip Milwaukee County. Look for a high of 41 degrees today, overnight low of 31. Tomorrow's high 51 as the sun returns. Could hit 60 inland on Saturday under sunny skies and 64 the projected high inland on Sunday. 38 degrees, clouds in Milwaukee at 12:10.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Thursday edition, Wisconsin's Midday News, hour number 2 of the program. Greg and Jessica with you. I can't believe we are 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. I've watched this time-lapse video that Fox 11 put on their X feed. It showed the construction of the stage, a time-lapse of that. So cool to watch it. And it is a massive, massive stage that will be out in the parking lot at Lambeau Field. So be mindful if you're going out there. There's going to be road closures and all sorts of that. But it's going to look amazing a couple weeks from tonight.
I just love that this is another opportunity for people across the country to take in Wisconsin. I mean, how many opportunities have we had recently? And they just keep coming. And this is another one. You're going to have those beauty shots. They're going to be saying, there's Green Bay, there's the water. I mean, I just love it. It's another great opportunity for us. And we'll shine.
Absolutely. 12:11, some big stories that we're following here as we flip to the noon hour on a Thursday.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
The race to negotiate. The markets are back in negative territory today after rallying yesterday on the news President Trump was putting a 90-day pause on some of his tariffs. The pause only impacts the countries the White House says have been negotiating over trade deals. So who's negotiating? ABC's Karen Travers is at the White House with the latest.
They're not giving details of what exactly they're discussing with these countries, what they're looking to see as concessions to get these deals across the finish line. 75 countries, they say, have reached out to try and strike some sort of trade deal. They now have this 90-day pause to continue these negotiations.
There are no conversations right now with China. The White House is said to be very eager for those conversations to get underway. They're essentially waiting for China to reach out.
Well, inflation cooled off last month. Here are the details from ABC's Brian Clark.
Consumer prices increased by 2.4% in March compared to a year ago. That's a cool down. Economists projected a 2.6% increase, but this data was collected before President Trump's tariff escalation. Economists say tariffs could leave inflation high. The 2.4% reading is still above the Federal Reserve's 2% target.
So what does it mean for interest rates? Well, we may not know for another month or so. The Federal Reserve is scheduled to meet May 7th. Economists are forecasting rates just staying where they are. What does it mean for your money? Not exactly sure there either. Economists believe inflationary risks are still present. due to the existence of Trump's tariffs.
Easter season's traditionally peak time for eggs, and egg prices have hit a historic peak. They're up more than 60% compared to this time a year ago. The Consumer Price Index showed egg prices in March reach a new record high of $6.23 per dozen. That's despite lower wholesale prices. Experts say this could be a long-term effect of the more than 168 million birds slaughtered since the bird flu outbreak began. Brian Clark, ABC News.
So inflation cooled in March, but egg prices did not.
Not so much. I'm wondering how many people are going to, dye potatoes and marshmallows and hide them around the yard instead of eggs.
Dye potatoes well?
I don't know. You could probably add some food coloring to a marshmallow and decorate that up the way you want.
Well, experts thought egg prices were going to continue to fall because the bird flu outbreak has slowed, but they were wrong.
So growing up as a kid, we did like a real Easter egg hunt. Like my parents would hard boil all sorts of eggs.
Nice.
We would dye them together.
Yep.
Like,
It's so
me and my
fun.
brother, we had a good time doing that. Then they would hide them. They would make cookies, and sometimes the egg was on top of the cookie. It was really cool. And they were around the house. So we had to, find our Easter basket and find all the eggs. Well, that stopped. After 1 year, we did not find all the eggs, but Mom and Dad thought we did find all the eggs.
And then all of a sudden something started to smell.
What in the world is that?
No.
Like back in this nook behind next to the fireplace. It was like this wretched smell.
Oh, no.
So it turned into plastic eggs after that.
Oh, that's brutal. One of my favorite memories from Easter is my Aunt Patty, who unfortunately is no longer with us. She, for Easter, she had these plastic eggs. They were a little bit bigger, and she would make one for every person, and she would make it look like the person. So mine had this red yarn for hair, and it was kind of like they looked kind of wacky, but they looked like you. And she would hide them around, and there'd be little trinkets or some chocolate inside. It wasn't about what was inside; it was about the hunt. It was so fun, and it's just one of those things that it's forever one of my best memories of my Aunt Patty. Loved it.
I'm forever scared of the Easter bunny, but I do enjoy a good Easter egg.
Oh yeah, you don't
hunt.
like the bunny?
No, it freaks me out. We'll find out what Joel Brennan does with his eggs after this.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike during the nation's largest bike sale. That's right, the Wheel and Sprocket Bike Expo sale is back. And so is our trade-in, trade-up program, which means you can trade in your old bike for a gift card to use towards your new bike.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Electric bikes, road bikes, cargo bikes, mountain bikes, kid bikes, hybrid bikes. Over 2,000 brand new and used bikes on sale, along with thousands of accessories, from helmets and lights to car racks and more.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, trade in your old bike for a gift card towards a new bike. Friday noon to 8, Saturday 10 to 8, and Sunday 11 to 5 at the State Fair Park inside the Expo Center. Visit bikeexposale.com for details. Admission is free.
Life is short. We'll see you at the Bike Expo.
Hey, there's some winning magic powering up at Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee. Greg Matzek here. Let me tell you about it. This April, prepare for an exciting quest to win your share of $300,000. All you got to do is play slot machines, conjure up your rewards card, play your favorite slots, and earn drawing entries. 60 winners every Thursday will compete for thousands in cash and prizes. It'll be a good time. It's called Enchanted Spins at Potawatomi. While you're there, check out the sports book. They'll have golf on this week. They'll have basketball. They'll have baseball. You name it. If it's on, you'll see it at Potawatomi Sportsbook. Nothing like it in the state of Wisconsin. 2,000 square foot video wall, great food, full service bar, VIP deck. It really is a sports viewer's paradise. Check out all that's new at Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
A little bit of rain to the western part of our listening area. I don't think it's going to clip Milwaukee looking at the radar, but you might see some sprinkles out in Waukesha County. 41 your high today, 31 the overnight low. Tomorrow's high 51 under mostly sunny skies. Back into the 60s inland on Saturday and Sunday. It is 37 degrees in Milwaukee at 12:17. Joel Brennan is the president of the Greater Milwaukee Committee. Always up for a good Easter egg hunt. Do you hide eggs around the house, Joel?
No.
No?
No, I will tell you this. My mother, so I grew up in a family with a lot of kids. My mom wasn't a big fan. She used to have the Easter pig who would leave stuff. And she put my mother, she put a trail of black jelly beans to be like the trail to get to the Easter basket. Like the pig had done something in the house.
Yes,
So
interesting.
That's what I learned, as I was growing up, was more the Easter pig than the Easter bunny.
That's so creative, though. How did she come up with that?
I don't know. I think it was a little something to do with over-commercialization of the holiday and the fact that she just was kind of whimsical and wanted to have some fun. So. The Easter pig.
Well, that is entertaining, right? I'm afraid of the Easter bunny. I kind of wish we had an Easter pig when I was growing up. Hey, why don't we talk about the Mitchell building, one of these iconic buildings in downtown Milwaukee. There are so many, Joel, that over the course of time have either gone belly up or, in the case of many buildings in the Third Ward, been reimagined as housing opportunities. What's the future of the Mitchell building?
Well, it was just announced this week that this is going to be yet another of the transitions from an office building to a place where people are going to have residences moving forward. And, I think about the Mitchell and the Mackey building. They're on over there on Michigan Street, and the Mackey building has the grain exchange in it. And these are buildings that were built in the 1870s. They've been around for 150 years, and they've served a great purpose as, for trade and for commercial uses, and then they housed businesses over time. And now we're getting to the point where the most viable future for them is as residential. And Josh Jeffers, who owns those buildings and several others, has done a lot of this transition to housing. And, in a time where the world changed a lot during COVID, and I think the office market is still kind of struggling to feel where it is, although there's some demand. There's certainly still demand for downtown housing, and we're able, as a community, to kind of capture on that in these historic, beautiful old buildings.
Well, yeah, talk about beautiful. We were talking about this yesterday, the move from office space to housing for this particular building, and then it just happened to be, I'm sure I go by it a lot, but yesterday I happened to look out the window as I was driving back home from work, and then sure enough, there it was, the building, and you could see Laughlin Constable, the old name up there. But I commented, I said, wow, when you actually really take a moment to look at this building, you can see the history involved. And it is stunning, absolutely stunning. So it's nice to know that we're not knocking down this building by any means. It's going to be used in another way. And in this case, Josh Jeffers has done it before.
Right. And I think it's actually registered with, as a historic building. And there are certain things, the requirements to preserve some aspects of it, and that also affords opportunities for developers to get some additional tax credits for things like that. Yeah. But we want to make sure that we're preserving that. I think there are a number of other buildings that have undergone or are undergoing a similar transition, and to have buildings that are 150 years old that, like a community, you evolve over time and you're not static. And so to find a new way to be and to enjoy these buildings and have them have a new use, that's good for the community.
Those familiar with Milwaukee are no doubt familiar with Brady Street, right, Joel? And I'll pop into Apollo and grab a Euro on the way home if I'm bringing home Greek for the family. Used to be a street I hung out quite a bit on when I lived in downtown Milwaukee. If you've not been to Brady Street in a while, you might notice something a little bit different. Private security patrol has been hired by the Brady Street Improvement District. What's the idea behind this?
Well, this is a notion, I think, of where we are as a community. Part of it is that Brady Street does continue to be a center of activity, especially during the summer months. And these business improvement districts, what they do is they really kind of levy a charge on themselves. They levy a tax on themselves so that they have the ability to figure out how to use some of those resources. And one of the priorities for them and the priorities for people who use Brady Street is an elevation of uniformed security officers. Now, these are not MPD, and MPD still is the only body that has the ability to arrest and detain people. But I think we all feel more comfortable when we see more uniformed presence of security in places, and that's what Brady Street is doing here. And I don't think this is the first year that they've done this, but they're extending the hours a little bit and having a little bit more of a visible presence. And I think on net, that's probably a good thing for those of us in the community. I live just a few blocks from Brady Street. We live in Brewers Hill. We walk over the bridge and use Brady Street a lot. But, and so we want to make sure that people feel safe and secure when they're out there going to bars, restaurants, doing the other activities that are available on Brady Street. So I think, again, this is something that the businesses themselves have the ability to do. Some people may complain that means that there are too few uniformed officers or we can't control crime. To be honest, we have problems. We're required to get our uniformed officers to a certain number by the state legislature over the next decade, and it's going to be hard enough just to fill those jobs. It's challenging to fill uniformed law enforcement jobs. And so having others who are well-trained, who have the ability to de-escalate things when they see stuff going on the streets, that's a valuable thing for the community.
I think it's great because, let's be honest, Brady Street is awesome. It's eclectic. There's so much to do. It's different. It's just, I love the fact that you've got the east side and you've got downtown, and then Brady Street is like its whole own world, really. But at the end of the day, there are issues on Brady Street. I mean, it was just earlier this week. What was it? Just yesterday, you had this high-speed chase going down Brady and a homicide suspect. Not sure that this security would have prevented that. However, there are definitely things that happen. So the fact that they're being proactive about this, they're doing something about it, and maybe they, cut down those numbers and get back to a spot where people feel a bit more comfortable. I think it's great.
Right. And we've had, in the last few years, there were discussions, I think they've kind of subsided for the time being, but even closing Brady Street and making it only for pedestrian traffic. And, I think that there were mixed reviews of that from all over the community. But no matter what, I think you have to make some accommodations for making people feel welcome, secure, and, and able to access Brady Street in the way that we want them to.
Joel's the president of the Greater Milwaukee Committee. You always have an interesting cast of characters coming through for your committee meetings. What do you have coming up?
So Monday is 414 Day, April 14th. And just a little side note, it's my son's birthday. So we had a child born on 414. And for he's going to be 18. I think for the first 17 years, we've convinced him that all this 414 stuff is for him.
Just for him.
So just so you know that. But because we have a meeting on that day, we're going to have John Gerda, Milwaukee historian, as kind of our centerpiece to doing a presentation that some probably have seen before. But there's a lot of new people to town. And just talking about the making of Milwaukee and how valuable a resource we have in somebody like John Gerda. We're going to enter into that. The first person we have is Senator Tammy Baldwin, probably talking about some of the heavier stuff going on at the national and international level. But also, I think part of her message is going to be communities that are going to do well in the disruption that we're feeling right now are those who are aligned, and you got people in the public sector, the private, the nonprofit sector working together and rowing in the same direction. So she'll kick off the meeting with that, but then we're also just going to take a moment to appreciate what we've got in Milwaukee and who we've got, and treasures like John Gerda and people like that are stuff we should celebrate.
That guy's amazing.
I was just going to say, isn't John Gerda a gem?
He is. You tee him up on anything with no advanced knowledge, and he'll walk you right through the process.
Yeah, he could read the phone book, and I'd be interested.
Yeah.
That shows how old I am. We don't even have phone books anymore. But he's always got some great stuff, and he continues to revisit this and is really part of living history of Milwaukee.
Amazing stuff. Always great to connect with Joel Brennan, president of the Greater Milwaukee Committee. We'll do it again next week.
Great to be with you guys.
Thanks, Joel.
12:26 news is coming up.
I'm not against shopping online. In fact, you can check out our huge selection at BurkhartSportingGoods.com. But when you're ready to buy, Burkhart should be your only stop. Because here, you can grab hold of the Midwest's largest selection of baseball bats, gloves, and equipment, and take all the swings you need in our indoor batting cages to make sure you buy the right bat. And when you buy your new mitt, we'll steam and custom fit it for you right on the spot. This is Brian Burkhart, and when you love baseball and softball like we do,
You can't beat Burkhart.
if you're in charge of uniforms and equipment, you want to get the most value for your team's budget. You want the most for your money, and you want the process to be easy. Because you already have enough on your plate. We get it. Burkhart Sporting Goods Team Outfitting Division is the best you'll find. With an abnormally high customer satisfaction rate and our own silk screening and embroidery facility for quality control. So if you want the highest quality team outfitting and incredible service,
You can't beat Burkhart.
A buck in today's world doesn't go far unless you're spending it at Griffin. Because for just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. Buy one or a whole set. This is Jim Griffin, any major brand. We'll put you in new tires for just $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. That's right, $1 over cost, and we'll even show you the invoice to prove it. So what's the catch? There's really no catch. You don't have to buy a car or a truck from us. We'd like it if you did, but our only requirement is we put them on for you. Buy 1, 2, or a set of 4. The $1 deal at Griffin. Available at Griffin Chrysler Jeep South, 27th Street and Jefferson. Griffin Chevrolet in the Auto Mall. Griffin Ford, Waukesha, and Fort Atkinson. 5 ways to make your dollar go further. Griffin, the buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. $1 over cost. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
And now about your house. It's where you live. But do you also live in your yard? My friends at Outdoor Living Unlimited help people extend their home living beyond the walls. Your imagination may be limited, so let's call on Eric Brown, president of Outdoor Living Unlimited, to expand upon it.
Some of the most exciting projects from Outdoor Living Unlimited involve adding dimension to the backyard. During the design phase, we bring all kinds of ideas to the project. We generally start with the focused effort in the 2D world, the two-dimensional world, with a deck or a paver patio. I call this our blank canvas. Decks and patios, when built right, are wonderful to enjoy when you want to relax and unwind. Designed correctly, these projects lend themselves to adding a third dimension to the backyard that often consists of a version of a pergola. I say version of a pergola because the term pergola has taken on so many meanings and styles recently. We can build a pergola that has cedar slats to break up the sun, which looks beautiful, gives the backyard a defined space, and definitely adds another dimension to the backyard. These are stylish with their natural beauty. If you're looking for more, pergolas have evolved all the way to powder coat aluminum framing with automated louvers in the roof that open for natural light or, with the press of a button, close to deflect rain or create shade. These newer contemporary pergolas also have automated screens that you can open and close with the push of a button. You control your space. If you want screens for privacy, wind deflection, or to deter bugs, you can have them down. Or press a button and the screens roll up and you have a clear view of your surroundings. There are so many other options when it comes to designing your space. Adding a third dimension brings excitement to any backyard.
See all of the cool things that Outdoor Living Unlimited can do for your yard on their Instagram page. Or see it inside Outdoor Living Unlimited's unique Outside In showroom in Waukesha. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
It's 12:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. Your top story, a new lawsuit for a closed wedding venue.
I'm Jessica Tighe. Today is just a test.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. After President Trump issued a 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs for countries, the White House shifting gears to negotiate trade deals. The president meeting with his cabinet this past hour, saying trade talks will take place with dozens of countries, but also acknowledge finalizing those deals will take time.
There'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be a beautiful thing.
The president brushing off the downturn in the markets a day after stocks rallied. Concerns over the remaining tariffs, along with the massive hikes on China imports, driving uncertainty. ABC's Karen Travers says so far China, faced with 145% tariffs, hasn't blinked.
There are no conversations right now with China. China is not one of the 75 countries that has reached out to the White House. The White House is very eager for those conversations to get underway.
This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 12:31. Suing a shuttered Milwaukee wedding venue over unpaid rent. Black Swan Enterprises, operating out of the 3rd Ward, abruptly closed down in March. They claimed the property owners were not providing tenant improvement funds. The property owners now suing Black Swan for over $238,000 in unpaid rent and storage costs. The Wisconsin Department of Revenue shows Black Swan owes over $26,000 in state taxes.
A Wisconsin assistant district attorney now finds himself a defendant. The accusations include making threats against judges. CBS's Adam Duxter.
According to court documents, the investigation started last week and focused on a phone call between Ballo and a coworker. In the call, that coworker says Ballo got angry, specifically towards 3 county judges, saying they made life difficult for him. Then he said multiple times, quote, they need to bleed. Investigators say they then talked to Ballow's wife, who said the relationship had been tense, including a moment where Ballow drove over 90 miles an hour with her and their 2 young kids in the car. Ballow faces 3 counts of threats to a judge, 2 drug charges, and a charge for domestic abuse.
A woman is dead after being hit by a train in Wauwatosa. A 67-year-old from Milwaukee was hit by a Union Pacific train near 111th and Burleigh. It happened on Wednesday afternoon. Union Pacific says the train hit a trespasser and that it wasn't at a crossing. No one on the train was hurt.
If you hear tornado sirens today, there is no need to panic.
The National Weather Service is partnering with Wisconsin Emergency Management to conduct statewide tornado drills. So you may hear the tornado sirens go off at 1:45 p.m. and 6:45 p.m. Thursday. You can also hear the regular weekly test if you have a weather radio. The drills are part of Severe Weather Awareness Week. Sean Brenda, WTMJ News.
And more international students have had their visas revoked, this time at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. The 10 students and recent grads from UWM joined the 13 from UW-Madison in having their statuses terminated. The terminations come just 1 month before the end of the spring semester.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:33.
Hey, boaters! This is Dave Dorrell from Kendor Marine. When you get here, you might be overwhelmed when you see so much stuff. But don't be, because our staff knows just where to find what you need. They're knowledgeable, friendly, and willing to help so that you can find everything you need to keep your boat in tip-top shape. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water. Hey, boaters!
We have the go-to marine store. And it's not just because we have all the boat parts and supplies you'll ever need, including oddball parts you thought you'd never be able to find. And it's also because we're cheaper than the other guys, too. So why shop anywhere else? This is Dave Dorrell from Kendor Marine. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
Hi, this is Nate from Best Electric. We are a second-generation family owned and operated and based in West Dallas. Our motto is no job is too big or too small, and we stand by our work. Have you been thinking about buying a new electric car or truck? We can handle the installation of your charging equipment with ease. Have problems with ice damming on your roof? We have a solution with the installation of our roof de-icing cable. We are always happy to provide free estimates. Connect with the best. Visit bestelect.com today.
Hey, Gina, did you hear about the draft?
Wayne, there's no draft at Pella.
There's definitely a draft. Right, Wildy?
Yeah,
everybody's talking about it.
Pella windows are constructed of the highest quality. No drafts. But Pella should be everyone's #1 pick because right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades.
So where is the draft?
Coon. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply in 4/30/2025. Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at ACCUNET.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. It's the Brewers and Rockies afternoon baseball on WTMJ. On the Hill today is Quinn Priester, who the Brewers traded for earlier this week. GM Matt Arnold on Priester on Wisconsin's Morning News.
This guy can help us now and in the future as well. I mean, he's still only 24 years old, and he's not a finished product, but this guy has really good stuff and a really good arm and good ingredients to work with.
Coverage begins today at 1:35 on WTMJ. We'll have Bucks basketball tonight. Milwaukee taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Coverage gets underway after the 6 o'clock news. Bucks currently in the 5th position in the Eastern Conference playoff race with 3 games to play. And round 1 of the Masters continues on a nice, pleasant, sunny day at Augusta National. Scotty Scheffler, Tyrell Hatton, Justin Rose. Your trio atop the leaderboard at 3 under par.
Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic. I don't want to jinx it, but we don't have any big crashes right now. And also, the couple of disabled vehicles that were out on the system have since cleared.
Unfortunately, the radar is not clear. Got some rain falling in Waukesha County. It looks like it will clip Milwaukee County if it's not doing so already. and a high of 41 degrees today, overnight low of 31. No wetness tomorrow. Sun returns and a high of 51 degrees. We'll hit 60 inland on Saturday, 64 inland on Sunday. 38 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:37.
Your all-you-need-to-know segment centered around the Milwaukee Bucks.
The long wait has ended after a half-century. The Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions once again.
It's Bucks Insiders every Thursday at 12:35. Sponsored by Best Electric and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Bucks Insiders on a Thursday and a game day. That means Eric Name of The Athletic will be at Fiserv Forum where the Bucks take on the New Orleans Pelicans. We are getting down to it. Eric, just 3 games left on the regular season schedule. They want to start first with Damian Lillard. Cryptic Instagram posts where it appears he had just gotten done with the workout. Everybody says, hey, Dame is on his way back. What do you think is going to happen here over the rest of the regular season and then when the Bucks begin the postseason with their point guard?
Yeah, I mean, I think from the very beginning, the Bucks and Lillard have been very optimistic that he is going to return this season. That is, I mean, all of the messaging has been, a lot of belief that they caught it pretty early. That was our initial reporting at The Athletic, that they found it pretty early. They were able to get him on blood thinners pretty quickly. And then from that, it was able to move in the right direction and start having progress. But I think where it gets tough is that blood clot has to be all the way gone. And I think it's difficult to predict or project when it's actually going to be gone. That's no matter how much positive progress is being made, you do have to clear that final hurdle, and you do have to make sure that the blood clot's all the way gone, and then you do have to get him off blood thinners because you can't play NBA basketball on blood thinners. Just the danger that would put him in is astronomical. So you can't do those things. So you have to get those final hurdles cleared. It is always been very optimistic. He is making good progress. He's at the facility. He's working out. I think he is starting to feel very good. And I think he's felt good throughout it, which is kind of what makes this all so difficult, is that, you have this thing, but you're still able to work out and you're still able to do these things. But blood clots can be very dangerous. And I think that's the kind of tough balance here is no matter how optimistic and how well things are going, you can't do anything until it's all the way gone. And we'll see if they can kind of clear that final hurdle and get there and get him back on the floor.
Well, we can't wait for Dame to be back and to be healthy, of course. In the meantime, we have Bobby Portis back after that big suspension. That's significant. The crowd on Tuesday, I mean, I knew it was going to happen, but there it was, those chants, Bobby, Bobby, Bobby. It was so loud. It was great. What did you see as far as how he impacted the game the first night he was back?
Yeah, I think one of the big things is when you are playing with Giannis Antetokounmpo, you need guys that can shoot. And when you think back to that insane fourth quarter run that they have, Bobby shooting a corner three over the top of Rudy Gobert. That's a big deal. That is, something that they just didn't really have out on the floor because, well, they didn't have another big man out there. And then you think about the rebounds, 10 rebounds for Bobby as well. And that's something that the Bucks really struggled to do without Bobby. They just weren't big enough out on the floor to do those things. So you're thinking about grabbing rebounds, you're thinking about hitting threes, but then also there's just kind of the emotional leadership. Doc Rivers had kind of joked about it because Bobby is, I think part of the reason why Bucks fans love him is because he is so emotional and he is so intense and he is willing to mix it up with other teams and push people around and stand up for his teammates. But Doc had kind of joked after the game that, we have this little dust up, let's say, with Kevin Porter Jr. and Rudy Gobert. And during that, Bobby Portis walked over to Doc and said, hey, we got to calm Scoot down. And he was like, that's when I knew we were in a good place. When Bobby Portis is coming over and telling me that we need to calm Kevin Porter Jr. down,
right.
I know we're in a good spot, and I know he's in a good spot emotionally, that he's not thinking all right, let's escalate it. Instead, the guy that's the peacemaker, the guy that's de-escalating the situation is Bobby Portis, which is, I think, speaks to his growth over the years as a leader on this team, and I guess kind of speaks to his emotional growth, that even on a night where he would have all that adrenaline and all that intensity and want to make a big impact, that he's still all right, let's calm down and let's finish the job and let's make this comeback.
And that comeback was intense, huge. I mean, people were leaving. We were down 20. I never leave. I always keep the faith. But even myself, I was like, this is not looking good. So besides Bobby, what else do you contribute that huge comeback too, because there's part of me that just felt like the guys are like, we got to do this.
Right.
You know, we've had so many kind of just hits from time to time throughout the season that we just got to get this win, keep going.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has been pretty clear over the last week is that they feel really strongly, and I'm sure we'll talk playoff seedings, things like that, but they feel really strongly that they want the 5th seed. They want the Indiana Pacers in the first round. You've seen them beat the Pacers 3 times this year. The only time they didn't beat them was when Tyrese Haliburton had a magical Hail Mary 4-point play to beat them in Indiana. Like, that was the only way that the Pacers beat them. So they feel good against the Pacers. Conversely, they feel bad against the Knicks. They've been 0-3 against the Knicks. They've lost by 34 points to the Knicks. Like, they've gotten beat pretty badly every time that they've played the Knicks this year. So getting that 5th seed is important. And when you talk to Giannis, he's like, it's been the playoffs for the last couple weeks. Like, this is the intensity that we have to have. We have to keep winning these games. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of it. So you have all of that, and then also it's really strange to even think that this can happen in the NBA, but there are just nights when you run a zone defense in the NBA teams melt down. They just absolutely forget how to play basketball. It doesn't matter how good they are at shooting threes, and the Timberwolves are very good at shooting threes. Dante DiVincenzo had 5 threes by the time
the big ragu.
Right, by the time the Bucks went to the zone, he was torching them from the 3-point line, but the Bucks go to the zone and the Timberwolves just lost their minds. It was turnovers all the time. They couldn't get a shot up. They didn't know what they were doing offensively. So all of a sudden, they don't score for 6 minutes. And during that 6 minutes, the Bucks just keep chipping away, 23 points to trim it down to 1. And then, obviously, they finish it off once you have the dust up and Bobby calming everyone down. They finish the job and pull off an insane win.
Eric Name of The Athletic joining us in the studio. Bucks and Pelicans tonight from Fiserv Forum. So how far do the Bucks need to go in the playoffs to quiet the chatter and any notion from any so-called journalist who believes Giannis will ask for his way out of Milwaukee at the end of the season?
Well, I think nationally there's no limit.
It never goes away.
Yeah, no matter what, people will want to talk about that. That is
because they want him.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's the reality of the situation. If it hasn't left after they won a championship, if it hasn't left after he's been here for all of these years, I just don't think it's going anywhere. I don't think if they go to the NBA Finals, the story would be, well, they didn't have enough in the NBA Finals, so maybe Giannis wants to leave because he couldn't get it. You know, they didn't have good enough. But whatever it could be, there's always going to be that story. That is just how this exists, and this is kind of the reality. And I know a lot of Bucks fans get frustrated about it because it's like, well, Jokic's coach and GM got fired 5 games before the end of the season. Why are they not saying, well, maybe Jokic is going to ask out? And I understand that, but I think the big thing has always been to me, there's not a more attractive player in the NBA than Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's just the reality of the situation, is that dude has been the best in the world for all these years. That dude has an insane work ethic, and you know he's going to do everything in his power to be on the floor at all times, and he doesn't have horses in Greece that he might retire to and just say, like, well, you know what? I'm done with the NBA. I don't enjoy it this much. I'm going to go head back over to Serbia. Like, he wants to do this forever. He wants to play 20 years. And when you have a guy with that work ethic, with that talent, with that desire, with that will to win, that makes him the most attractive player on the market at all times. So every team, if you're planning for the future, of course you're going to dream the wildest dreams. And of course you're going to leak these things to journalists and say, oh, well, maybe Giannis could become available. And that's great. But if he doesn't, then you go to plan B, and you go to plan C, and you go to plan D. And that, to be fair, that's good future planning. Like, you should think about how to build your franchise for the future. But also, I think that doesn't mean we need to always, consider every team's wildest dreams.
Yeah, where I would get nervous is if you saw a report of the Bucks are shopping Giannis versus X team is interested in Giannis. Of course they are.
Yeah.
Every team is
Everybody
interested.
is.
Yes.
In Giannis.
And everyone's dreaming that he'll someday become available.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he could have horses over in Greece.
You might. That actually sounds very nice.
Hey, real quick, I have kind of like a behind-the-scenes question for you. What's the deal with the dinosaur? Is it a dinosaur, that little green dinosaur, and then sometimes it looks like it has powder on it?
Yeah, no, that's right. That is Brooke Lopez's Lucky Charm. That is a tiny Rex figurine from Toy Story. And he's had that, oh my gosh, I think since he's been in Milwaukee. So the players typically put talcum powder on their hands to grip the ball better. So the talcum powder is always right next to Brooke Lopez's tiny Rex figurine. So Brooke gets himself some talcum powder and then gives Rex a little every time he goes back in the game.
Do the other guys too? I feel like every once in a while they little sprinkle on.
I think they will, yes.
Dino?
Depending how much luck they need.
Okay.
Brooke is one of one.
He is,
there's
isn't
no
he?
doubt about that. He is an amazing.
Well, he's
kind
of one of two, though, right?
Well, that's a very good point.
But I see where you're going.
But he and Robin, they've never lived together because their cats don't get along. That in itself is a very fascinating story. So the Bucks take on the Pelicans tonight. One more home game after that. In fact, the Bucks will do a back and forth with the Pistons to round out the season. Right now, if this playoffs began, the Bucks would take on the Pacers in the postseason's first round. Interesting stuff. We'll be following it. Eric Name of The Athletic. Follow him as the Bucks take on the Pelicans and throughout the postseason. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Eric.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, Bucks Insiders, brought to you every week by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and Best Electric.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike at the nation's largest bike sale. I'm Amelia Kegel with Wheel and Sprocket, and our Bike Expo sale is back at the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds this weekend inside the Expo building. Electric bikes, road bikes, cargo bikes, mountain bikes, kid bikes, hybrid bikes, all on display and ready to ride. So whether you're seeking health and wellness, adventure and fun, or just a new hobby, the path to your new journey leads to the Bike Expo sale. And remember, all of our bikes come with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, which means you can ride it for 30 days. And if you don't love it, we'll refund your money.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike. Friday noon to 8, Saturday 10 to 8, and Sunday 11 to 5 inside the Expo Center. Visit bikeexposale.com for details. Admission is free.
Life is short. We'll see you at the Bike Expo.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Hi folks, this is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. At BBC, we sell all the top brands of lights and ceiling fans, such as Visual Comfort, Tech, Schoenbeck Crystal, and hundreds more. We get every brand, and our prices are the lowest. I guarantee it. In our award-winning showroom, you'll also find factory closeouts with lights and fans priced well below their original cost. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for the kids and our famous free popcorn. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 4, and located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
You've probably been hearing a lot of buzz about tariffs.
I haven't.
Really?
What's a tariff?
It's a tax on imported goods.
It makes these imported goods more expensive.
Oh, that explains why I've never heard of tariffs.
Why?
Because 92.3% of the furniture at Penny Mustard is made in the USA.
True.
In fact, most of it is built by local craftsmen and women right here in the Midwest.
And locally sourced furniture will never have a tariff on it.
So when you invest in new furniture at Penny Mustard, you won't be paying extra taxes and shipping costs.
Besides, tariffs or no tariffs, our American-made Penny Mustard Strong furniture will last generations longer than IFE-made furniture shipped in from overseas.
You get so much more for your money when you buy American.
Tell me more about these tariffs.
Can we talk about this later? I'm so tired of hearing about them.
Oh, so I guess you can say that all this talk about tariffs is taxing.
I see what you did there.
PennyMustard.com.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Come on in to Total Wine & More. Prices much lower than a grocery store. Spirits, wine, beer for a whole lot less. Walking down the aisles makes you stop and say, yes! From mixing cocktails to a friendly get-together, Total Wine has everything you need, and more. With the lowest prices and best selection for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Little rainly to the west and south of Milwaukee. It looks like some of that rain has clipped Milwaukee County here, just south of 94. So, yeah, kind of a nasty day here. High of 41 degrees, low of 31 overnight, 51 and sunny on Friday. We'll hit 60 inland on Saturday, 64 the high forecasted for Sunday. A little cooler near the lake. 39 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:53. The Wisconsin's Midday News podcast is up and running wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast, built by our friends at Siding Unlimited. Truly siding and a whole lot more. All the good stuff from the days, the weeks, the months, the years, right there at your fingertips, wherever you get your podcast. Find us. Text the word Midday to 855-616-1620.
They are not getting divorced. The rumors about the Obamas.
Oh, geez. Okay.
They just kept getting louder. Now, former First Lady Michelle Obama is actually addressing them. It kind of seemed like, when I heard about this, here's the thing. I see a rumor out there in social media. I'm like, whatever. Okay. You know, people are always saying something, right? So you kind of let it slide. But this was one of those that I will admit, even myself, I was kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Because you had all of these high-profile events where former President Obama was showing up by himself. So a lot of people were wondering what's going on, and these rumors just kept getting louder. Well, now you have Michelle Obama talking about it. She talked about it in the podcast, Work in Progress with Sophia Bush. She explained why she decided not to attend some of these high-profile events with her husband.
They couldn't even fathom that I was making a choice for myself, that they had to assume that my husband and I are divorcing. You know, this couldn't be a grown woman just making a set of decisions for herself.
See, and Gina, our producer, she said, I forgot to say it this morning, but yeah, I too thought this. I mean, that's how loud these rumors were. So I'm kind of glad that Michelle Obama came out and squashed them, though I think it's kind of ridiculous that she needed to because these rumors got so wild. But if you think back to it, the speculation about her marriage grew in January when former President Obama showed up solo to President Trump's inauguration and to Jimmy Carter's funeral. Well, here's the deal. She was in Hawaii on vacation during Carter's funeral, and she said she just chose not to attend the Trump inauguration. She's not tied to political life anymore. I mean, that was her past life, right? Huge at the time, but it is in the past, to a point at least, of course. They're invited to a lot of things still. And her daughters are now grown, so she is basically making more time for herself, and she's coming out being like, this is ridiculous, even though she is talking about it, that I had to talk about this. Like, this is just me making personal decisions for my life. We're not getting divorced. It's crazy.
Now, I only heard that one cut from her. I've not really followed the story all too closely. But did she squash those rumors? Did she, in truth, squash the rumors? Or did she say, hey, I just didn't go to these events and it was my choice for X, Y, and Z reasons?
I think this says something. Now, 2 years down the road, you could say, see, I told you, of course you could do that. But the other thing that I think is interesting about this, forget the rumors and whatnot, but the fact that she is speaking on this podcast, Work in Progress with Sophia Bush, because now there's so many times where you've got something big, a big news nugget that comes out on a podcast in a different form than it used to be. I mean, there are a lot of people right now who some ladies might be saying, okay, yeah, I heard those rumors. I kind of wondered myself, too, who might not even know who Sophia Bush is, right? But are happy to hear from the former First Lady, to hear from herself. But Sophia Bush, I know her as an American actress from One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
But now she's got a podcast, and now the former First Lady is on it, chatting about how she's not divorcing her husband, and she just wanted more time to herself.
Sounds like a lovely trip to Hawaii, too. 12:56 on WTMJ. News coming up in a few, followed by Spanning the States. We're back again tomorrow. Brewers baseball at 1:35.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profiled the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes.
There, yeah, she flew off the road right at a bridge, so she went down an embankment. No one could see her vehicle
until a guy named Johnny Martinez happened to come by.
Ma'am, how long have you been here?